And we are back once again only on It Is After Hours on the After Hours YouTube channel. Now, join me on the line is this lady here. Well, she has been one of the rising stars in the adult industry. A lot of people want to shoot with her. A lot of people want to work with her. A lot of people want to seduce her. That's men, women, and couples. I give you one of the breakout stars of 2020, 2021. I give you it's Kimmy Kimm. Kimmy, let's start off here with so how tough was last year for you? Because you had all these plans, you were going to break out, do a lot more stuff. COVID hit, that sort of slowed your momentum.
Oh
How
yeah.
tough was that sometimes? Looking at all this stuff, going, I want to do it, I want to do it, I'm ready to do it, and it's like, nope, you got to hold on because COVID is about put you on hiatus.
Right. Yeah. It's been tough, but the industry honestly has been resilient and they've kind of just tried their best to keep things going. So what they do is they COVID test every performer and every single like staff member, cast member, like camera guys, sound guys, they have to COVID test every 24 to 72 hours when you're actively shooting.
How
So
weird is it though
it's
when? Sorry to interrupt, but how weird was it though when you're on set and you start noticing things that are weird? Like used to be sit on set, you'd have other performers hang out in the back room. Now it's all of a sudden, yeah. I'm guessing if you're not shooting, you're not in the building, or less camera people, less makeup artists. I mean, how what was that
right.
like the first time you start shooting? You notice, wow, there's a lot less people here because of the whole 6 feet apart, social distancing, and all that stuff.
Well, I actually started it was mid-pandemic already. So I started around last September, like the end of September of 2020. So it was already like that for me as soon as I like got into the industry. There was like, they were really strict about like no one that's not needed to be on set can be on set. So I'm kind of just like that's been my whole experience entirely so far.
So, what got you into this then? Like, what made you decide to become an adult performer?
Well, the pandemic actually, because I used to be a waitress and I did a lot of restaurant work. I was doing everything from hosting to management. And then the pandemic hit. So obviously, I couldn't work in a restaurant anymore. And while I was working in the restaurant, I kind of like started dipping my toes into it. I started doing like OnlyFans and Patreon and just posting stuff on the hub, like by myself. So then I got TikTok and I met another star, Aria Banks, through TikTok. Like this is all entirely online. And she was like, like you're already kind of like doing it for yourself. Like you should think about doing it professionally. And then from there, she like hooked me up with her agent, and I drove down to Miami and did my first few shoots.
How nervous is it that first time shooting? Because, as you
Oh
said,
my god.
yeah, it's no longer amateur where you go, yeah, I'm just doing it for fun, or yeah,
Right.
being the boyfriend. It's all of a sudden like mom, dad, neighbors, Mr. Peterson, the fifth grade English teachers watch. It's like, oh yeah,
Yep. Oh
porn
my god.
star.
It was mortifying. I especially because I went onto set and no one there knew it was my first shoot, but they were all acting like I should already be like knowing what to do. So I was like standing there, they're like, okay, like put your stuff here, like come on, let's go, like let's get into makeup. And I was like, okay, where do I like sit? And I just felt so awkward. But then once I finally got through it, I, like I told the director, I was like, this was actually my first time. And he was like, oh my God, no one told me. Like, it was like they were assuming that like they probably should have alerted him like, hey, she's a new girl. Like this is her first time doing this. But after it was all like said and done, I started just crying because I was so proud of myself for actually like driving down to Miami, getting tested, showing up, like, and doing it.
So all this is going on, as you mentioned, you've delved into porn, and I gotta ask, how tough is it when once you do it, you start noticing who's there, who's not, who's a good friend, who's sort of judgy because it's
Right.
controversial. There is no like middle ground. It's like politics. You're either on one side or the other. How tough was that for
It's
you figuring out like, okay, I know who my true friends are?
It was definitely polarizing, and something that you don't think about is like you want to make friends who like do the same job as you because they will understand. But a lot of people that are in the porn industry are in it because of like
Other reasons.
oh god, right, different reasons. Like they're not in it to make friends, they're there to get to the top, or they're there like for other motives, like they don't want to make friends. So it's really hard to like make friends within the industry. So I feel like at the same time it brought me closer to the friends that I do already have. Even though it was polarizing, I feel like I got really lucky in the fact that I was already surrounded by pretty good people, so none of them were really necessarily judging me and like being like, wow, this is unexpected, like how fucking dare you. Like I feel like they were like, oh my god, like of course you are, like that's kind of cool, like get the bag, like good for you.
So what turns you on in men and women? Because you're shooting with girls, you're shooting with guys.
Right.
You have your own stuff, which you do want to follow. So as your second business. So what do you look for when you're working with girls and guys?
I'll start with girls because with girls it's 110% just easy. With a girl, I appreciate the woman, like women's bodies so much that like she doesn't basically have to do anything. She could talk and I'll be like melting at my knees. It's so easy to work with women, and I think it's just because I'm a woman, so I feel like I know like that she knows what's going to feel good because she's also a woman. So it's like I love working with girls. They make it so much more fun and like easy. But then again, like they don't have the stamina that guys bring to the table. So I can understand why some people want to see me like with guys and why some people want to see me with girls because they both like, you know, it's different. Definitely working with guys, it's all about like when I meet like cuz we meet the guy for maybe 15 minutes before we start filming in like a professional setting, you know? So I always want him to like, you know, be nice. It's a plus if he's funny, like when we're first meeting and he can crack jokes and not take everything too seriously. But once we're getting down to work, it's all about foreplay. It's definitely all about like making sure that we get warmed up before we go hard.
So what is it like when sometimes you're working with people who they're old enough to be your parents? I mean, I'm guessing you've hung around with
Oh yeah.
older women, older men. All of a sudden, you're like, holy crap, you're my dad's age, you're my mom's age.
Right.
This is kind of weird. It's weird
Right.
here.
I wouldn't say that it's like well, okay. I guess for the woman part, it's easier as well because they often look at the younger girls as like they could be their mentor. So my favorite MILF and the only MILF that I've ever worked with so far is Kitten Late Night. She is an amazing performer. She's genuinely kind, and she kind of like immediately I felt like she was taking me under her wing, you know? And I was like, "Oh, I love this woman. I love this woman so much." But then like with guys that are older, they are surprisingly because I feel like if you're older and in this business, you have to be fit. You have to be an athlete. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. But these older men still have like honestly, I feel like because they're older, they feel like they compensate by going extra hard. Like specifically Stefano,
Michael
Mr.
Stefano.
Stefano. Yes, I don't I'm blanking on his name right now, but Mr. Mike Stefano, that's his name. He is one of the older performers that I've worked with, but he did all of it in one take. He was phenomenal. I think that they're still just as valuable because like they're still taking care of their bodies and going to the gym, working out and eating right so that they can perform well.
All right, so you're doing all these wild scenes here. You've had sex on buses. You've had sex on tables. What's the
Yes.
what's is it ever uncomfortable though when it's like, okay, some of these places they decide we want you in different poses and different arches. Cameras to be in a certain way, and you know what I'm talking about. All of a sudden, it's like, oh crap, I pulled a muscle. I need a
Right.
massage. I need a deep tissue massage or some liquor, whatever comes first.
Right. Oh my gosh. At first I wasn't expecting to need to be flexible just for pictures, but now that I know like I have to maintain my body as well, and I have to not just like look good but make sure that like I feel good, and like I have to do yoga and squats like every day just to be able to like make those arches in those pictures.
Give me the
Cuz I
wildest
know
scene.
like hmm?
No, you go first. My apologies.
Oh no, you're okay. I was just saying I know like some photographers, their style, like one of their like things is like if it's uncomfortable, like if it feels uncomfy, then it looks great. And it's true cuz then I see the pictures come out and I'm like, "Wow, damn, like they were completely right." But I remember thinking in that position like, "Ow, like when is this over?"
If you're just tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we got Kimmy Kimm here on the show. We're talking all things, of course, sex. We're talking being a newbie in the industry. We're talking friends, hot yoga, as they say. So you're doing all this stuff here, as you said. You're also doing your side business. So how tough is it having friendships, having relationships when it's a 24/7 baby? Whether it's you're tweeting,
Right.
you're Instagramming, posting video clips. You're also doing your OnlyFans and many vids. You're shooting for the companies. How tough is it to explain to people like I'm busy? When I'm not working on set, I'm working at home doing this. Plus, you also have your own Twitch
Right.
channel. It's like okay, I can't hang out because I am working. But going, no, you're just goofing around on the computer.
Right. I I tell them like, well, first, it's the most difficult with people that don't take quarantine seriously because, like I said, we have to get tested every, 24 to 72 hours if we're shooting for a large company, and they will not make any exceptions. It doesn't matter if you're their favorite, like, it doesn't matter how big you are. And if you test positive, then you're out of work for an entire 2 weeks. So that's like my biggest issue is like, I can't hang out with you if you haven't been quarantined or at this point like vaccinated if you're eligible and everything like because I can't risk it. I can't risk my entire career for 2 weeks, you know? That's something that's hard to explain to people who aren't in the business. Like family and friends that I haven't seen since I started. That's been probably the hardest part. But I know that most of like my really close friends understand when I say I'm working because they've seen me sit here in my living room and edit a video for like 4 hours straight, just trying to get like the perfect transitions and make it look smooth and beautiful and artsy and creative. Like I know for sure that they understand. So I'm really lucky that I did surround myself with good people even before I started.
You're doing your own Twitch channel. How did that come
Yes.
about? Like, because most of the people I see when it's a lot of pro wrestlers who are doing it for a while, and athletes, they're just playing video games. So you're watching somebody playing video games. So when people
Right.
turn it on to your Twitch channel, what are you doing? I mean, are you doing something different, or is it just like, oh yeah, I'm playing video games, or no, I'm editing stuff. People watch me edit stuff.
Well, I have Dan play his video games on one monitor and we stream that, but then in our camera, it's me sitting and I answer questions. I talk to fans and we do stuff like challenges like we have our next challenge that we're doing is he's going to be playing video games while I'm answering some more questions and getting personal with fans and stuff like that. And he's going to be wearing a shock bracelet. So just at random, I'm going to be shocking him. And we kind of do it together. It's like a not just me thing because I feel like me sitting there just answering questions is boring. So for the visual stimulation, he plays like a variety of games. And then for anyone that wants to ask me questions, I'm also sitting there on like half the cam and talking about the bang bus and my experiences and how I got into porn and just whatever they want to ask. And we do sometimes talk about like our personal life. Like I've got 5 cats. You can see our cat tree over here. So sometimes they'll pop up in the cams and run around. But we're gonna do the shock bracelet thing probably either late tonight or tomorrow night. So we try to keep it fun and exciting and not just video games, because I totally feel that I couldn't just sit there and watch someone play video games without any kind of other stimulation.
There was an article in the Rolling Stone about this. So and I know that everybody likes to keep, nobody wants to talk politics and porn. It's sort of a Debbie Downer, but there's always been sort of this hidden racism where, and I'm guessing you've seen it or you have friends who experience it. Oh, me so horny, come dim sum. How
Right.
tough is that, especially for somebody like yourself to to sometimes speak up and say no when these are companies that they're set in their ways. They're going to do this, and there's no union,
Right.
there's no backup, and if you get a reputation for being quote unquote difficult, you start losing out on
Right.
work. How tough is it sometimes fighting for something when it might cost you financially?
There's definitely, like, as a woman, it is hard to set boundaries in this business because you don't want to be looked at as hard to work with, and you don't want to be looked at as like a bossy bitch or anything like that. Um I honestly still struggle with that, so I can't really say like, "Oh, like stand up for yourself," or like, definitely like don't take it, because I haven't had to like reap the consequences of that because I haven't been there. For me, it's easiest to just let it slide off my shoulders and not take things too seriously, because then I feel like if I do, then I would get all up in my head in that turmoil and being looking at it in a negative light rather than just kind of looking at it in like the happiest way that I can.
Who are the friends in the industry that you can sort of maybe sometimes literally just banter about this or vent about this? I mean, you mentioned Kitten, is one. And I think it helps that she's much older. She has worked in both
Right.
porn and outs. Who else? Who else is there that you can look at? If you need to just vent and go, hey, look, my day sucked. I had to deal with this idiot, director, or I had to deal with this, jackass photographer. Who are the people that you look and go, I trust them. They'll listen to me vent. They won't say, they won't run behind my back, and they'll give me at least some good advice.
Um, First person that comes to mind is Dixie Lynn. She's the sweetest Southern belle you will ever meet. She's an adorable petite blonde, and I have so much love for her because she has been a true friend to me since the beginning. She's never once raised her voice or been crazy or anything like that. So I really put a lot of value on Dixie Lynn. And Dan Malibu, obviously, is my roommate, my homie. We always like we talk about everything. Most because he lives with me and he's here all the time. So anytime I'm like going through something, like really going through something, I know that I can talk to him about it.
What's the long term goals here for you? Because now things are hopefully starting to get normal. We're starting to actually travel, hopefully, knock on wood. Like, what are some
Right.
things you want to do? Let's say this year in terms of just bucket list, like things. It doesn't have to even be sex. Like, what are some things you've been dying to do but you haven't done yet?
I really, really want to go to an adult con. I did get invited to Exotica. So hopefully, like, I'm hoping and praying that I actually get to go and, network, meet like friends and fans and everything like that. Because I know that that would be just like extremely helpful. I love meeting new people. And that's like another reason why I love this business, is because meeting new people every single day, it's not so monotonous. So I definitely want to do an adult con of some sort. Um, and I'm really hoping that my little Asians uh is it little yeah, Little Asians scenes come out sometime soon.
So when you met, so you talked all about everything about this here, and as you said, you're very giddy about the little Asians. So I got to ask you, are you? Is there worry about how you're portrayed? Because you're still young. You're 18. You're 18 years old, correct?
Ooh, I'm 22.
22. All right, good. So but you're still a young lady here, and as you said, you're starting this, this journey off. You're trying to, put your best foot forward here. How do you find that happy medium balance where, as we said, you're not the of a bitch, you're not the of a crow. I don't work this girl's complain about everything, but they still know that, yeah, she's a lady, but she's a fighter. She's not going to just roll over and take it. We do have to respect her,
Right.
authority.
I mm, oh man, this is hard for me. I don't really know. There's I feel like in this business it's a lot of trial and error. Like it's a lot of like stuff unpredictable stuff can happen. So then, something that you don't like happens, then I just definitely like will keep a mental note of it and be like, well, I'll never work with them again, or I'll never, do what they ask again for me. And I think that is for me, that's enough to where they know that I'm serious. Like if I'm booked through a company and one of their talent does something that pushes my boundaries or goes over my boundaries, then if I let them know and there's nothing done about it, then I will absolutely not work with them again. But I do think that pushing through when it happens, like the first incident when it happens, is just part of my work ethic. I've always been someone that's like wanting to see things through all the way to the end. So I do feel like that is hard for me to like find a balance. Like I want to see it through to the end, but like, at the same time there are girls that would say like cut, like I'm not doing this at all because he's not listening to me when I'm saying no or something like that. Um for me it's just my ideal solution is just to be like, well, I will never work for them or with them ever again.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we are very happy to have on the show this rising little sex pot who's been turning heads, breaking hearts, and making a whole lot of money along the way. I give you the
Thank
adorable and
you.
sexy. I give you it's Kimmy Kim. Kimmy, before we let you go, where can fans check you out? Twitter page, Instagram, the Twitch channel, OnlyFans, many vids. Where can fans hit you up on everywhere?
My OnlyFans is at Kimmy X Kim with two M's at the end. So KIMMYXKIMM. My Twitch is Gateman TFT. Again, it's Gateman GATEMAN TFT. And on Twitter, you can find me at triple X Kimmy Kim. Instagram is at Kimmy X Kim, same as my OnlyFans. And ManyVids, I believe, is just kimmykim.manyvids.com.
Kimmy Kim, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are proud to have her on the show. Stay tuned for more great action coming up only on It Is After Hours, only on the After Hours YouTube channel.